Welcome to the land down under. Crikey, what a beautiful planet we live on. And right down at the bottom of the map, there's a place that's an absolute gem, Australia. It's a massive island, so big it's a continent all by itself, surrounded by the sparkling Indian and Pacific Oceans. People call it the land down under, and it's a place of incredible contrasts. You've got vast red deserts that stretch as far as the eye can see, and then you've got lush green rainforests teeming with life. It's a land of ancient stories, unique critters, and people with big hearts. Australia isn't just a place, it's a feeling, a massive outdoor adventure playground waiting to be explored. It's a real beauty, and its story is as wild and wonderful as the country itself. What makes this place so special, you ask? Well, for starters, it's home to some of the most unique wildlife on Earth. We're talking about kangaroos that hop across the plains, koalas snoozing in gum trees, and cheeky kookaburras whose laughter echoes through the bush. But it's more than just the animals. Australia has the oldest living culture in the world, belonging to the Indigenous First Peoples, whose connection to this land is deep and powerful. It's a story that goes back tens of thousands of years. This ancient heritage lives alongside a modern, vibrant society made up of people from all corners of the globe, creating a colorful mix of traditions, foods, and ideas. It's this blend of the ancient and the new that gives Australia its unique spirit. The sheer size of this country is mind-boggling. You could fit most of Europe inside it and still have room to spare. Because it's so big, the landscapes are incredibly diverse. One day, you could be diving in the Great Barrier Reef, a world of color and life under the sea. And the next, you could be standing in awe before Uluru, a giant red rock that changes color with the sun. Our cities are just as exciting. Sydney, with its famous Opera House and Harbour Bridge, is a buzzing hub of energy, while Melbourne is known for its cool laneway cafes, art, and obsession with sports. Every part of Australia has its own personality, its own special flavour. So get ready for a journey through time and culture, right here in Australia. We're going to dive deep into its incredible history, from the very first people to walk this land to the nation it is today. We'll meet its amazing animals, explore its breathtaking landscapes, and get a feel for what it's like to live the Aussie way. It's a story of survival, of change, of incredible beauty, and of a spirit that's as rugged and resilient as the outback itself. This isn't just a country, it's a world of its own, full of wonder and adventure. So grab your hat and let's go exploring this magnificent land together. What a little ripper. Long before any ships from Europe sailed these southern seas, Australia was already home to a rich and thriving civilization. The first peoples of Australia, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, have lived on this continent for more than 65,000 years. That makes their cultures the oldest living cultures on the entire planet. Think about that for a second. It's an incredible legacy, a connection to the land that is deeper than you can possibly imagine. They were the first explorers, the first artists, the first storytellers of this great southern land. Their history isn't written in books, but in the landscape itself, in the rocks, the rivers, the stars, and the trees. It's a living history, passed down through generations. The heart of Indigenous culture is the connection to country. This isn't just about the land as a place to live. It's a spiritual and physical relationship. Country is family, it's law, it's the source of all life. Every part of the landscape has a story, a meaning, and a purpose. These stories are told through the dreaming or dream time, which explains how the world was created by ancestral beings who shaped the mountains, rivers, and all living things. These stories are not just myths from the past, they are a guide for living today, teaching people about their responsibilities to the land, to each other, and to the spirits. It's a beautiful, holistic way of seeing the world. Art, song, and dance are vital ways of keeping these stories and cultural knowledge alive. Aboriginal art, with its famous dot paintings and rock engravings, is one of the oldest and most beautiful art traditions in the world. These artworks are not just pretty pictures. They are maps of the land, records of history, and sacred texts all in one. They tell the stories of the dreaming, show where to find water or food, and pass on important cultural laws. Similarly, a corroboree, a traditional ceremony with singing and dancing, isn't just a performance. It's a way to connect with the ancestors, to celebrate life, and to ensure the continued health and harmony of the community and the land. For thousands of years, Indigenous Australians lived in perfect balance with their environment. They had a deep understanding of the seasons, the plants, and the animals. They knew how to manage the land sustainably, using practices like cultural burning to prevent big bushfires and encourage new growth. This profound knowledge allowed them to thrive in some of the harshest environments on Earth, from the scorching central deserts to the tropical rainforests of the north. Their culture is a testament to resilience, adaptation, and an unbreakable spiritual bond with the land they have always called home. It's a heritage that all Australians are learning to respect and celebrate as a vital part of the nation's identity. For a very long time, Australia was isolated from the rest of the world, a hidden continent known only to its first peoples. But in 1770, a British explorer named Captain James Cook sailed along the east coast in his ship, HMS Endeavour. He mapped the coastline and claimed the land for Britain, naming it New South Wales. He saw a land that was completely different from anything he had ever known, full of strange plants and animals. Cook's arrival marked the beginning of a massive change for Australia. It opened the door for European settlement, which would forever alter the course of the continent's history and have a devastating impact on its original inhabitants. Just 18 years after Cook's voyage, in 1788, the first fleet arrived. This was a group of 11 ships carrying over 1,000 people from Britain, including hundreds of convicts. Britain's prisons were overflowing, and they saw this vast, distant land as the perfect place to send their criminals. They established a penal colony at a place called Sydney Cove. For the new arrivals, it was a harsh and difficult life in an unfamiliar land. But for the Aboriginal people who lived there, the arrival of the ships was a catastrophe. They watched as strangers came and began to clear the land, build houses, and claim ownership of places that had been sacred to them for millennia. The process of colonization was brutal and had devastating consequences for Indigenous Australians. The settlers brought with them diseases like smallpox and measles, to which Aboriginal people had no immunity, and these illnesses wiped out entire communities. There was also violent conflict as the colonists expanded across the country, taking over more and more land for farming and grazing. The settlers did not understand the deep connection Indigenous people had to their country. They saw the land as empty and unused, there for the taking. This led to displacement, massacres, and the destruction of traditional ways of life that had existed for tens of thousands of years. It's a dark and painful chapter in Australia's history. Over the next century, more and more free settlers came to Australia, drawn by the promise of land, gold, and a new life. 6 separate British colonies were established: New South Wales, Tasmania, then called Van Diemen's Land, Western Australia, South Australia, Victoria, and Queensland. Each colony had its own government and laws, and they developed independently. Cities grew, farms spread, and industries like wool and gold mining began to boom. But this growth came at a huge cost. The environment was changed forever, with forests cleared and rivers dammed, and the first peoples were pushed to the margins of this new society, their culture and rights ignored. This period laid the foundation for modern Australia, but also created deep wounds that the country is still working to heal today. As the 19th century came to a close, the 6 separate British colonies in Australia began to think about joining together. They were all on the same continent after all, and they shared a similar heritage and language. People started to believe that they would be stronger and more prosperous if they united as one nation. They wanted to have a national defence force, a single railway system, and a common policy on immigration. After many years of debates and discussions, the people of the colonies voted to federate. And so, on the very first day of the 20th century, January 1st, 1901, the Commonwealth of Australia was born. It was a brand new nation, ready to make its mark on the world. This new nation spirit was soon tested by war. When World War I broke out in 1914, Australia, as part of the British Empire, immediately joined the fight. Thousands of young Australian men volunteered to serve. They became known as the Anzacs, which stands for the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps. Their most famous campaign was at Gallipoli in Turkey in 1915. Although the campaign was a military failure and resulted in terrible losses, the bravery, endurance and mateship shown by the Anzac soldiers became a powerful legend. The Anzac spirit is now a core part of Australia's national identity, and every year on April 25th, Anzac Day, we remember the sacrifices of all who have served the nation. After the war, Australia continued to grow and change. It was a tough time with the Great Depression in the 1930s, but Australians are a resilient bunch. Then, World War II brought the conflict right to Australia's doorstep for the first time, with the bombing of Darwin in 1942. This experience made Australia realize it couldn't just rely on Britain for protection anymore, and needed to form a stronger alliance with the United States. The war also spurred industrial growth, as factories ramped up production to support the war effort. It was a period that forced Australia to stand on its own 2 feet and forge a new place for itself in the world. The years after World War II were a time of massive transformation. The government launched a huge immigration program, encouraging people from Europe and later from all over the world to come and make Australia their home. The idea was populate or perish. This wave of migration changed the face of the nation forever. Cities grew rapidly, new suburbs were built, and the economy boomed thanks to high demand for Australian wool, wheat, and minerals. It was an era of optimism and progress, which saw the construction of iconic projects like the Snowy Mountains hydroelectric scheme and the Sydney Opera House. Australia was becoming the modern, multicultural nation we know today. After World War II, Australia threw open its doors to the world, and what a beautiful thing that was. The country changed from being mostly British and Irish to becoming one of the most multicultural societies on Earth. At first, many migrants came from countries in Europe like Greece, Italy, and Germany, seeking a new life and new opportunities. They brought their delicious food, their vibrant music, and their strong family values, adding new colors and flavors to the Australian way of life. You can see their influence everywhere, from the bustling food markets in Melbourne to the Italian cafes that line the streets of Sydney. They helped build the nation and enrich its culture in countless ways. Then, in the 1970s, Australia officially ended its old discriminatory immigration policies and embraced multiculturalism. This meant that people from any country in the world could now call Australia home. Waves of migrants began to arrive from Asia, particularly from Vietnam, China, and the Philippines, as well as from the Middle East, Africa, and South America. This made our society even more diverse and, honestly, more exciting. Walk down the street in any major Australian city today and you'll hear dozens of different languages being spoken. You'll see people from all different backgrounds living and working together. It's like a big, beautiful mosaic of humanity. This diversity is one of Australia's greatest strengths. It has made the country a more dynamic, tolerant, and interesting place to live. Our food scene is incredible. You can eat your way around the world without ever leaving your suburb. From spicy Thai curries to hearty Lebanese feasts and delicate Japanese sushi. We celebrate this diversity through festivals like Chinese New Year and Diwali, which have become major events in the Australian calendar. It has also given us a more global outlook, strengthening our ties with countries all over the world, especially in the Asia-Pacific region. We've learned that our differences can bring us closer together. Of course, creating a successful multicultural society isn't always easy. It requires respect, understanding, and a commitment to ensuring everyone gets a fair go, which is a classic Aussie value meaning a fair chance. Australia is still on a journey to make sure that people from all backgrounds feel welcome and have the same opportunities. There are ongoing conversations about identity, belonging, and how to best address issues like racism. But overall, the story of modern Australia is a story of people from every corner of the globe coming together to build a new life under the Southern Cross, creating a nation that is proud of its rich and varied cultural tapestry. What a beauty. If you want to understand the Aussie way of life, you have to get outdoors. Australians have a deep love for nature and the great outdoors. With so much stunning coastline, it's no surprise that beach culture is a massive part of our identity. On a hot summer's day, you'll find everyone flocking to the beach to swim, surf, or just relax on the sand with family and friends. We have amazing volunteer surf lifesavers in their red and yellow caps who keep our beaches safe. Beyond the beach, we love to go camping in the bush, have a barbecue in the park, or go for a hike to a beautiful waterfall. Being outside is in our blood. It's where we feel most alive. Sport is another thing that gets Aussies fired up. We are absolutely mad about it. Whether we're playing it or watching it, sport is a huge part of our weekends and our conversations. Our national obsession is Australian rules football, or footy, a fast and furious game that's like nothing else in the world. In states like New South Wales and Queensland, rugby league is king. And of course, there's cricket. The sound of a cricket match on the radio is the sound of an Australian summer. We love our national teams, like the Kangaroos in rugby league, the Wallabies in rugby union, and our mighty cricket team. We get behind our athletes with incredible passion, especially during the Olympics. The Aussie character is something special too. We value what we call mateship, which is all about loyalty and friendship, sticking by your friends through thick and thin. There's also a belief in a fair go, meaning everyone deserves an equal chance to succeed. We tend to be pretty laid back and informal. We often call our Prime Minister by their first name. We have a bit of a larrikin spirit, which means we like to have a laugh, often at ourselves, and we don't take things too seriously. We also have a unique slang. We say g'day for hello, call our friends mate, and talk about having a barbecue in the Arvo afternoon. And you can't talk about Aussie culture without talking about the food. While we love food from all over the world thanks to our multicultural society, we have some unique Aussie grub of our own. There's the classic meat pie at a footy game, fish and chips by the beach, and the famous sausage sizzle outside a hardware store on a Saturday morning. For the brave, there's Vegemite, a salty black yeast spread that we love to put on toast for breakfast. And for dessert, you can't go past a lamington, a sponge cake dipped in chocolate and covered in coconut, or a sweet crunchy Anzac biscuit. It's simple, honest food that's part of who we are. Crikey! Australia is home to some of the most spectacular landscapes and unique animals on the planet. Because it's been an isolated island for millions of years, our wildlife has evolved in ways you won't see anywhere else. We're famous for our marsupials, mammals that carry their young in a pouch. The most famous, of course, is the mighty kangaroo, which can be seen hopping across grasslands and bushland all over the country. Then there's the cuddly-looking koala, which isn't a bear at all, munching on eucalyptus leaves high up in the trees. And we can't forget the wombat, a sturdy burrowing critter, or the cheeky Tasmanian devil, found only in our beautiful island state of Tasmania. But it's not just the furry critters that are special. Australia is a paradise for bird watchers, with over 800 species. You've got the giant emu, a flightless bird that can run at incredible speeds, and the colourful parrots and lorikeets that flash through the treetops like jewels. And listen out for the laughing kookaburra, whose call sounds just like a person laughing their head off. Our reptiles are world famous too. We have some of the most venomous snakes in the world, like the inland taipan, and magnificent saltwater crocodiles, the largest reptiles on Earth. These animals are incredible survivors, perfectly adapted to their environment. We have to respect them and give them their space. The geography of Australia is just as diverse as its wildlife. It's the flattest and driest inhabited continent, with a huge arid centre known as the outback. This is a land of vast red plains, rugged mountain ranges, and stunning gorges. Right in the heart of the country is one of our most sacred and spectacular landmarks, Uluru. It's a massive sandstone monolith that seems to rise out of nowhere. It's a deeply spiritual place for the local Anangu people, and watching it change colors from deep purple to fiery red at sunrise and sunset is an experience you'll never forget. The outback is the true heart of Australia, a place of immense beauty and solitude. And then there's our coastline. Australia is blessed with thousands of kilometers of beautiful beaches, cliffs, and islands. Off the coast of Queensland in the northeast, you'll find the Great Barrier Reef, the largest coral reef system in the world. It's so big you can see it from space. It's an underwater wonderland, teeming with colorful fish, turtles, sharks, and corals. It's one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, but it's very fragile, and we have to work hard to protect it. From the lush Daintree rainforest in the north to the dramatic cliffs of the Great Ocean Road in the south, Australia's natural wonders are simply breathtaking. What a place! So, how is this massive country run? Well, Australia is a constitutional monarchy and a parliamentary democracy. That sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple. It means we have a Queen or King of the United Kingdom as our official head of state, but they don't have any real power in our day-to-day government. They are represented in Australia by the Governor-General. The person who actually runs the country is the Prime Minister, who is the leader of the political party that wins the most seats in the federal election. We have elections every 3 years, and voting is compulsory for all citizens over 18. It's seen as a civic duty, a way everyone has a say. Our government system is a federation, which means power is shared between the central federal government in our capital city, Canberra, and the 6 state and 2 territory governments. The federal government is responsible for big national issues like defense, immigration, and the economy. The state and territory governments look after things closer to home, like schools, hospitals, police, and public transport. This system was designed to make sure that local communities have a say in how things are run in their area, while the national government looks after the big picture for the whole country. It's a bit of a balancing act sometimes. Australia's legal system is based on the British common law tradition. A big principle is the rule of law, which means that everyone, from the Prime Minister down to every citizen, is equal before the law and must obey it. We have a system of courts to interpret the laws and settle disputes, with the High Court of Australia being the most powerful court in the land. Our laws are made by the Parliament, which is made up of 2 houses, the House of Representatives, which is the lower house, and the Senate, which is the upper house. For a new law to be passed, it has to be approved by both houses. This system of checks and balances helps to ensure our laws are fair. Some of our most important national symbols represent our values. The Australian national flag features the Union Jack, showing our historical links to Britain, the Commonwealth Star, with its 7 points representing the 6 states and the territories, and the Southern Cross constellation, a famous feature of the southern night sky. Our national colours are green and gold, inspired by our national flower, the golden wattle. And our coat of arms features 2 of our unique native animals, the kangaroo and the emu. It's said they were chosen because they can't easily move backwards, symbolizing a nation that is always moving forward. How cool is that? As we look to the future, Australia is a country with incredible strengths, but also some big challenges to tackle. One of our greatest assets is our people. Our multicultural society is a source of innovation, energy, and resilience. We have a well-educated population and a strong, stable democracy. Our economy is robust, built on rich natural resources like iron ore and coal, a booming services sector, and a world-class agricultural industry that feeds millions of people around the globe. We're also a nation of innovators, making strides in science, medicine, and technology. These are the strong foundations that will help us navigate the road ahead. However, we face some serious hurdles. Climate change is a massive one. Being a hot, dry continent, Australia is on the front line of its effects. We're seeing more extreme weather events like devastating bushfires, severe droughts, and floods. Protecting our unique natural environment, especially wonders like the Great Barrier Reef, is a huge priority. There's a big national debate about how to move away from our reliance on fossil fuels and embrace renewable energy sources like solar and wind power, which we have in abundance. The choices we make now will determine what kind of environment we leave for future generations of Aussies. Another crucial journey for Australia is the path towards reconciliation with our Indigenous First Peoples. For too long, their history was ignored and their rights were denied. While progress has been made, there is still a long way to go to close the gap in health, education, and employment between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. A key part of this is listening to Indigenous voices and recognizing their rightful place in the nation's story. The 2023 referendum on a First Nations voice to Parliament, although it did not pass, sparked a vital national conversation that must continue. A truly united Australia is one where the ancient heritage of this land is fully respected and celebrated. Despite these challenges, there's a lot of hope for Australia's future. The Aussie spirit of mateship, resilience, and a fair go is as strong as ever. We are a young, confident, and outward-looking nation with a unique place in the world. Our future lies in embracing our diversity, protecting our incredible environment, innovating for a smarter economy, and walking together with our First Peoples on the path to reconciliation. There's hard work to be done, for sure. But Australia is a land of endless possibility. It's a country with a big heart and a bright future, a true treasure on this beautiful planet. What a journey it's been, and what an adventure lies ahead.